many possibilities of manipulation in the church. I will only give you a few. First of all, appealing for money. Many, many preachers, pastors, evangelists manipulate. Like one technique, you're holding a meeting of your donors, a banquet. And you say, now there are 5 people here tonight who are going to give £500 each for this ministry. And one after another, 4 rather sheepishly stand up. And everybody's wondering, am I the 5th? And eventually some poor sap stands up. Motivated by what? Guilt. That's right. Remember, God never motivates by guilt. Now, this is something I've seen all over the world. Not all over the world, but in a lot of parts of the world. And then another way preachers can manipulate is by harrowing descriptions of all the tragic situations that they've seen. Like, it wouldn't be difficult to manipulate people if you could tell them stories about Bosnia at the moment. Now, I believe it's right that we tell the truth about the situation of the people we minister to. I believe it's right that we let people know they need help. But I believe it's totally wrong to make people offer out of a sense of guilt. It's a satanic subterfuge, a substitute for the right measure. And then another one, very, very common in the United States, is, you will receive your healing if you send £50 to this ministry. Or if you want your family blessed, send a generous offering and I will pray for God's blessing on your family. Liars. In 1 Samuel 15:23, we get a revelation of the basis of witchcraft. Samuel said to Saul, the king, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Now, in many of your translations, the word will be divination. But really, there are 3 different aspects of the same evil power. There's witchcraft, which is the power element. There's divination, which is the revelatory element, and is seen most commonly in fortune telling. And there's sorcery, which uses certain things or objects to control people. And we look at the 3 ways that it operates very, very briefly. Now, witchcraft is the result of rebellion. Wherever you find rebellion, you can look for witchcraft, because they are twins. Wherever you find rebellion, you may look for witchcraft. And if you're ministering deliverance to people and a person is delivered from a spirit of rebellion, the next thing you need to look for is a spirit of witchcraft. Now, witchcraft is what I call the religion of fallen man. And it's found everywhere on earth, in all nations. It takes different forms, but there are certain basic similarities that you'll find in all so-called primitive religions. Its object is to control. And there are certain things that it seeks to control. First of all, the forces of nature. In many nations, they have what they call rainmakers, witch doctors who get the rain to fall. That's what they seek to do. Or they may seek to control the crops and produce fertility in a land. But the aim is control. The second thing that they want to control is the course of life, and particularly the ability to bring forth children. Some years ago, I think 1987, 86, my wife and I were in Zambia, in a large meeting up in the northwest corner of Zambia, where 7,000 Africans had gathered. I think most of them, nearly all of them, were professing church members. And we prayed for many things. But one thing we prayed for was any barren women who could not have children and wanted children. And about 200 women assembled in front of us. My interpreter, who knew his own people very well, didn't let us pray until he'd asked a question. And he said, "How many of you have been to the witch doctor for a potion to cure barrenness?" And you know there were only 2 out of 200 women who did not put up their hands. The third thing that witchcraft seeks to control is human beings, to get other people to do what we want them to do. The aim is always control, and the power is always evil. But witchcraft can also disguise itself in Christian forms. Satan can do more harm to the church from inside than from outside. And bear that in mind, he is always seeking to infiltrate the church. And I want to give you a very vivid example from the book of Acts. Acts chapter 16, verses 16 through 18. This is an incident in the ministry of Paul on a missionary journey in the city of Philippi. Now it happened, as we went to prayer, that a certain slave girl, possessed with the spirit of divination, met us, who brought her masters much profit by fortune-telling. You see the power that's in fortune-telling? It's witchcraft. Actually, if you want to use the right name, it's divination. The Greek is very vivid. It says she had a spirit, a python. That's the actual word. And the snake, the python, is particularly associated with fortune-telling. And it's not a snake that poisons people, but it's a snake that wraps itself around people and ultimately crushes the life out of them. And a very famous medium in Washington, D.C., whose name I do not need to mention, wrote a book in which she declared that the way she received her gift was that a snake came into bed with her and coiled itself around her. And would you believe that millions of Christians are naive enough to believe that her gift is from God? Fortune-telling, to a certain degree, works. Please do not be so naive as to suppose that every time supernatural truth is presented to you, its source is God. It may easily be Satan. Now, her masters were angry because they'd lost their source of income. Once the spirit went out, she couldn't tell fortunes. Let's read. This girl followed Paul and us and cried out, saying, "These men are the servants of the Most High God, who proclaim to us the way of salvation." Notice every word she said was true, and she could not have known it by any natural means. It was by a supernatural revelation. It seemed to endorse the ministry of Paul and Silas, but it was from Satan. Why? Now, this is my opinion, because I believe Satan wanted to infiltrate the church of Philippi right from the beginning. And had Paul and Silas been like some modern missionaries, you know what they would have done? They would have made that slave girl a charter member of the church in Philippi.